Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah. A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Honest J. Nowak. So I feel like that, out of many subjects here, I happen to be doing pretty darn well in terms of how I tend to be speaking out about many of them. But a subject like this is probably something where it's going to get somewhat more serious around here, so probably prepare yourself for what might be coming soon. So now, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm just basically going to explain the problems, the many problems that lie within tiny pieces of hardware. Now, of course, tiny pieces of hardware that I'm talking about, like some really small nails, screws, some of the smallest tools that we can also use. Screwdrivers, as well as some others around here. Of course, the idea of ultra portability based on how small some items need to be just so they can be super easy to carry around is actually a pretty darn good concept, but applying it towards tools, it's a bit overboard. It would almost feel like that we would have to resort to using, well, small newborn baby hands just so we'd be able to use them. Because they're so small, we can barely have them held within our hands. And another problem that lies within is the fact that now tools like those could easily get lost. Just like with the kind of hardware that you'd probably ram to things like walls or have them inserted into the backs of toys, like in battery compartments. Of course, those are already pretty small to the point in which that they can easily become lost if you drop them or something like that. But the tools that are used to screw, hammer, all that stuff, they can also get lost pretty easily if you don't know what you're doing. So that's just another thing, straight off the bat, that I could probably identify. A few other things, though, I probably have in mind is that aside from really small pieces of hardware and the like that result around things like using tools and materials of which they are used to keep things together, would be that other super small items that revolve around hardware and the like would involve some of the smallest ever SD card chips. SD card microchips, they are very small indeed. They can become lost as well. So they're almost as tiny as a piece of corn. That's just how small they can possibly get. And the fact that SD card adapters that can allow micro SD chips to be slid in from beneath, they actually do help with this idea. But the fact is, sometimes you'd have to use the chip itself to be used in certain parts of other hardware, like on laptops or cameras. And the chip itself is already super small. But the fact is that it just keeps getting worse. With the idea that now ultra portability has now gone somewhat overboard with the fact that there are super small things out there, it is going to be even more difficult to keep track of where they could possibly be, as they could end up in any junk drawer or any place else, especially if you put them in the wrong spot. That's just another thing around here that I could probably start complaining about, but I mean, for people out there who tend to work very hard, no matter what size of tool or material that they commonly use, it's probably something that I could probably just set aside for now and certainly move on to something else that I might as well talk about here. But in a way, tiny hardware like tools or other kinds of materials or gear that we commonly use in some of our everyday lives is just a symptomatic idea that has been gone wrong in a way. It's just somewhat of an overwhelming experience in a way. The way I see it, though, it's probably not too bad if you have a really good hand on you. If you're able to really put it to good use, then, well, I'd probably give a little bravo at this point. But I suppose that for now, it's going to be a little while before anything else turns up. So if you want to see more go down on my channel, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.